I bought Stardew Valley just a few days ago and I'm already hopelessly addicted. I have put way too many hours into this game in a very short amount of time, but in that I have learned some awesome things that you can use in the game. So this is going to be the top 10 best tips and tricks for mining in Stardew Valley. Now this is actually good for potentially veteran players that might have not realized these subtle things, but it's also going to be really good for newer players or people just starting mining and trying to figure out some intricacies of the game. So if you guys enjoyed this video or at least learned something from it, please leave a like and consider subscribing, but let's get on to the list. Now the first one's going to be pretty obvious, but please check your TV in the morning if you're going to go mining and see what the fortune teller has to say. Now you can go mining on an unlucky day, but you're going to have a bad time. Now if you have a lucky day, consider that the time to go mining because more ores will spawn, and even though the wiki says that it doesn't affect the rate of getting stairs, I have found the complete opposite. I've made it twice as far on very lucky days compared to unlucky days. Also, these serpents that fly around in the skeletal caverns, go and kill them because they drop a spicy eel dish, and by eating that, you gain +1 luck. My recommendation is that you eat it immediately after getting off the bus because it gives you speed. But the cool thing is that after you eat it and you have the luck bonus, it's going to be more likely that you get one as a drop. So you can keep kind of cycling through over the days depending on how long you want to make this mining expedition, and it just shows that luck is a very good thing. The next tip is going to be for the more entry level people because to get to the skeletal caverns you have to be a little bit into the game. But if you haven't unlocked the quarry yet and you need some stone, or even if you have unlocked the quarry, I've found that the best way of getting stone is to mine level 1. Like just go to the first level of the caverns through the staircase and then mine the big rocks. If you have an upgraded pickaxe that can mine those big rocks, you're going to get 10 each, and then you just go up the stairs, go back down, and mine it again. Also, another tip is break the white rocks for easy mining plus more stone. That if you're in these skeletal caverns and you don't have an iridium pickaxe, I have a gold pickaxe, try to target those white colored rocks because you can still hit those in one tick, as well as also get more stone. So that's going to be some good focus right there. Also, collect all the fire quartz that you can. The crazy thing about fire quartz is that later on in the game you get gem duplicating machines, and fire quartz, if it is a high enough quality, is actually worth more money per day than putting in diamond, the most valuable mineral for the gem duplicator. So if you actually go for that, fire quartz can turn into a really awesome late game money making way off of these gem machines, even though it doesn't seem like it. But collect a lot of it, and for every one of them you're going to make roughly 150 gold to 160 something gold per day, as long as the quality is really good. And that's something to consider right there. Now, next up, we're going to be looking at a little bit more in depth with the combat. And when it comes to the combat, you need to have your hotkeys down. Like, it does take a little bit of time, but if you've played MOBAs, if you played any kind of game that requires a lot of fast key movement, especially hitting the number keys while also moving around and stuff, that is something that you need to get down. Also have your hotkeys in a very convenient place, you know? Put your pickaxe next to your sword so you can switch it really easy. Have some kind of food or emergency heal in range while you're doing that, and it's going to make your time a lot easier. Also, utilize pause buffering by just kind of extending your pinky finger and hitting escape, or also rebind your keys to where it's a lot more efficient. That, you know, I've kind of mastered it to where I can hit escape really fast, queue up an item, and then you have to memorize the hotbar as well. Then you just go and press that key immediately, and hopefully it can keep you from dying by just keeping your reaction time up and having everything nice and organized. If you're not organized, it could lead to an unfortunate death if you just aren't ready. So try to be ready at all costs. Also, when it comes to combat, running up is actually a really good option. That if you're trying to kite enemies and stay away, run up and then eat your food item because that causes you to face down. If they're chasing you, then you're going to be right in their face, and it can feel like a really impressive thing to do. So that was one of the first things I noticed while playing the game, is that if you eat an item, it will automatically make you face down and towards the screen, but you can utilize that to your advantage while using combat. Some more advice while in combat is to use the ability of your weapon. Now, the sword special ability is the block ability, and it is very, very powerful. That if you get swarmed by enemies, you can block, do a little bit of damage, get them off of you, and then you can use that to kind of reposition and get in a better position in the fight. It makes you pretty much invincible for a decent amount of time, and if you can utilize that just right, it can keep you from dying, and it also can convert a lot of really good damage onto your enemies. So that is something that you need to consider. Just hit the right click and you're good to go. Also, while you're in the skeletal caves, iridium is going to be found more commonly the deeper you go, but it increases by every 10 levels. So you want to get down as deep as possible. You want to be finding that iridium, and it just shows that it keeps stacking up. So if you have the opportunity to go deeper, take it. If you bring staircases, you can kind of get really far down, and iridium is going to get more and more common. It also stacks with luck, so if you have a luck food on you and it's a good lucky day, you're going to be finding the most iridium on those days, and that's really what it's all about. Now, when you are super deep in the mines trying to get every last little bit of iridium, it will get late out. The second it hits 2 a.m., you're going to pass out immediately. Now, here's the thing. Even in the skeletal caverns, it's okay to pass out. That you're just going to wake up in your home and everything's going to be fine. But if you're trying to go for a run where you're not going to pass out or anything like that, if you're trying to give yourself a challenge, or if you don't have 1,000 gold to spend, or if you don't want to lose any of that money, because it will cost you gold if you pass out, all you have to do is the exact second it turns 1 a.m., you better craft yourself some stairs and then go down them, use that exit ladder, and then book it home. Leaving at 1 a.m. will give you just enough time to make it into bed. Just make sure you actually don't have any items in your hand and you make it in bed. You're going to pass out anyways. The mines are pretty dangerous. There's going to be a lot of combat involved, and so far the easiest, best food I've found is if you have a barn already and you get your farm going like that, just use cheese. Cheese heals for 50 and gives you a ton of energy. Now, I prefer health values over anything because you're going to be restoring more energy than you're losing if you are taking a lot of damage, but cheese, you can stockpile it over a couple days, or if you get a couple pieces in a day, you're pretty much set. Also, just having other little bits of food right there from foraging, and purple mushrooms are really amazing as well. So that's a little bit of advice if you want to bring food. Pretty common knowledge, but it is easy to go on a long mining trip and still be really well prepared on the food side. Now, the last little bit of advice I'm going to give you is that if you die, it's okay to restart. No one has to know. So that's all I have to give for information about mining and combat right now for Stardew Valley. Hope you guys did enjoy this video and learn something. I've just really been enjoying this game. It's a very fun, crazy game, and it has its moments. Like, the combat does get pretty intense, and it feels like a very, very fun thing to do when you evade a ton of enemies, or you get a lot of kills or something, or if you pin, a bunch of slimes to the wall and just wail on them. It's a very impactful game, and also the mining, even though it's very repetitive, it feels like a mini game at times. You can just kind of keep doing it, farming up, and it's a really fun game and a really fun way to play. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you all have a nice day. Thank you for watching.